Hey, welcome back to another reaction video, guys. I'm Reverend Tyrel Bramwell. I'm the pastor of St. Mark Lutheran Church out here in Ferndale, California. And today we're reacting to Vice President Kamala Harris's first ad campaign to try to get us Americans to vote for her for the office of President of the United States of America. Or even nominee, I guess. Are we even voting? Is she ever going to be elected as nominee before she starts running for the president? I don't know what's going on exactly. Who knows? Our heads are spinning. But anyway, she is putting herself out there as the option against Trump, as the option that is opposed to Trump. So she wants you, me. She's trying to woo us with this first ad campaign, and that's what we're reacting to. Let's get right into it. And let's see, should we as Christians, should we vote for Kamala Harris? Fair question.
In this election, we each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in?
Yes, true. That is factual. In this election, we all do. We each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in? We're seeing the country more and more polarized, even though President Biden said he was trying to unite it or he's going to unite it. He didn't do that. But we're seeing a polarization. But even when we are not seeing a polarization, the statement still stands true. Every time you go to the ballot box, friends, every time you vote, you are putting your view, your statement, your opinion, your position into the mix, trying to influence the direction of our nation. What kind of nation do you want to live in? Down to the local level, what kind of city do you want to live in? What kind of state do you want to live in? What kind of policies do you want? What kind of taxes do you want? Do you want to vote more taxes for yourself? All these things, right? Every single election is super important that we contribute. This is the beauty of being an American. We have participation in our governing. We are the people, right? And it's supposed to be of the people, for the people, by the people, all that kind of stuff. So I say that because she's right. Don't dismiss it just because she said it, if that's your inclination. She's right. And I know there's a lot of younger voters. I mean, my generation was skeptical, but even my kids' generation is even further, more skeptical now with whether their vote even matters. It matters, guys. Get out there and vote Christian. Vote your conscience for your neighbor. And if you want to know more about that, episode 21 of Truth at All Costs, which drops tomorrow, Saturday, and that's going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in that episode. So let's get back to Kamala Harris.
There are some people who think we should be a country of chaos, of fear, of hate. But us, we choose something different.
So there are some people who want to take us in the direction of fear, chaos, and hate. And she has images of President Trump, former President Trump, J.D. Vance, his nominee for vice president. And the whole time she's saying that, those are the images you're seeing. So, pretty slick there, right? Is it true, though? Is that where President Trump took us last time? Did we go to a place of fear, chaos, and hate? No, actually, I mean, if you're considering the border situation, a closed border is not about chaos. It's about order. It's about law and order. It's about, if you want to come to this great nation, you come legally, not illegally. You come through the gate, not over the fence, right? So Trump, from the biblical perspective, as we think about everything as Christians through the biblical lens, is, just on that issue anyway, about order, not chaos. He's also, when it comes to abortion, now we see the Republican Party is starting to unwisely distance itself from LGBTQ and abortion issues. At least that's what we think we're seeing as we see stuff coming out of the Republican National Convention and the new platform that was presented and things like this. But during his first presidential run and time in office, we saw a great victory on the abortion issue. Yeah. So again, back to law and fair law for every citizen of this country, even the unborn citizen, that all people are equal. Yeah. So fear, chaos, and hate. No, I don't think so. I mean, President Trump's known for his mean tweets. Maybe you call them hateful tweets. But I think what she's actually talking about is that the left fears President Trump and that he is seen as hateful to them because he seems to generate fear within them And he does generate chaos within them. Why? Because they are trying to change the country. They're trying to present a queering of the order of our country, to use the LGBTQ terminology. And so for her base, the leftist, the godless left, she kind of has a point. I mean, from the way they perceive President Trump, not the way he actually has proven himself in his first presidential tenure, and not what he's presenting now, but she's billing him as fear, chaos, and hate because that's what her demographic thinks of him. They think, and I can testify to that, to dealing with the LGBTQ and pro-abortion people here in Ferndale. They hate Trump, and it's visceral. I'm sure you feel it, and you can sense it and see it everywhere where you live. This is the rhetoric from the left, which gets somebody, shot. Assassination attempts don't just come out of nowhere. So they've created this persona of former President Trump, and she's playing into that. It's not true, but she's playing into it. And many on the left think it's true because that's what they're hearing from people with a platform. High office officials like VP Harris. Let's keep going.
We choose freedom.
I don't know. Sorry to stop it so quickly. So on the one hand, you can choose fear, chaos, and hate, which is going to be how they see things on the left. They choose freedom. Freedom. Well, Republicans traditionally, and still to this day, are for small government, little government, restrained government that gives the individual more freedom. We are traditionally for actual freedom. Just using the word doesn't make it true. Kamala, Kamala. They're chanting her name as if, and then notice how she put that in there right before, what the difference is. What we choose, pause, Kamala, Kamala. That's pretty slick. Freedom. No, freedom. You don't get freedom by enforcing rules that make people have to use their tax dollars to fund abortions, that make people have to use their money to support transgender issues. We see on the left the opposite of freedom. It is big government, historically always has been, even before it was such a polarized country. Big government is less freedom. Small government is more freedom. So we have a Isaiah 5:20 issue here, guys. We have bitter, sweet, sweet, bitter, good, evil, evil, good, right? Light, dark, dark, light. We have this switcheroo happening, which is typical out of the political class. Okay, there we go. Put a pause right there. What do you see, friends? I see a lot of rainbow flags. I see a lot of pride flags. And there's the chanting of, Beyonce's little song about freedom is going on. This is the freedom she's talking about. Well, already right now, if she is advocating for this, you, Christian, know you don't want to vote for her. I'm not telling you who to vote for, but I'm telling you, from the Bible, that's evil. The queering of God's order is evil. That homosexuality is evil. It was evil in the Old Testament. It's evil in the New Testament. Nothing's changed. We've been told by prophets and apostles on both sides of the cross, this is an abomination. Those who commit these acts and approve of these acts and encourage these acts, they will die. They will suffer the eternal death, the second death. They will not go to heaven. This is not something we want to vote for because we don't want to be complicit in that kind of sinfulness intentionally. And this is not something where you accidentally vote for this. Look at this. She's running on this. She's running on the appeal to the godless left. It's humanism, it's Marxism, socialism, it's materialism, it's all things opposed to God. Right there with all of those rainbow flags. Also, I've seen a couple white people, but notice we're seeing a lot of the minority groups, to be expected. Why? Because that's her base. She's trying to mobilize her base. Her base is not your traditional Christian American. It's just not.
The freedom not just to get by, but get ahead. The freedom to be safe from gun violence. The freedom
not to just get by, but get ahead. I can tell you, living out here in California, where Kamala Harris used to politic before she was raised to the national level, under President Biden, we are not getting ahead. We are in that just getting by territory. People have been pinched heavily. Now, it's not just the national level. It's also because our state politics are junk as well. But it's true. Democrats traditionally do not, at least in the modern era, do not present policies and these sorts of things that enable the average American to not just get by, but to get ahead. In fact, what they do is they burden us even more. They make it harder for you to buy your basic groceries, to buy your gasoline at affordable prices. The Democrat policies traditionally in our modern era limit us in our everyday lives. It is the freedom that comes with the Republican platform, that comes with a small government, get out of the way and let Americans live and be industrious and all these things. To be able to get out of their way and let them get to work and do the things. This is what enables people to get ahead and not just get by. When the state steps out of the way, when it's there to do its job, to bear the sword against evildoers, and then let us live our lives.
Make decisions about your own body.
Oh,
we choose a future where no child.
There it is. Did you see the Planned Parenthood thing? It's about being able to make decisions about your own body. It's pro-abort. We want freedom to be able to kill our kids, to murder our babies, so that we're not just getting by strapped with the children that we had because we shacked up at that rave the other night because we have a bunch of baby daddies and we're having sex outside of marriage. No, we want freedom to be able to get ahead because we think if we can kill our kids, the consequence of our reckless lifestyles, our evil, godless lifestyles, then if we're not strapped with the burden of paying for another mouth to feed, well, then we can get ahead. See the platform? This is the platform. It is pure evil. It is child sacrifice. This is the kind of freedom they're talking about. Absolutely. And it should enrage us because it is idolatrous. It is idolatrous. And then now here we go, right? Talking to little girl. You want to be free, little girl. When you grow up, wake up. When you grow up, you want to be free to kill the baby in your womb.
Lives in poverty, where we can all afford.
No one lives in poverty. Sorry to keep stopping this thing. When no one lives in poverty because we've killed all the kids. No child living in poverty because we've killed them all. And we got the mask there with COVID.
Healthcare, where no one is above the law. We believe in the.
That's hilarious. Where no one is above the law, and she shows us pictures of Trump, guilty, the verdict, right? Everything from there, trying to punish him legally. I'm just floored because Kamala Harris was the Attorney General for California, and California is super soft on law. Everyone's above the law in California. If it's advantageous for leftist politicians, you're above the law. I mean, everybody is above the law. We pass policies to make it to where you have to be above the law. We're soft on crime. This is why Walgreens is moving out, and all these big box stores are moving out, and the insurance companies are moving out, and Tesla's moving out, and all this kind of stuff, because everyone's above the law, and everyone's crooked, and everyone is warped in their thought process. And yet she says no one's above the law. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's not true.
Promise of America, and we're ready to fight for it. Because when we fight, we win. So join us. Go to KamalaHarris.com and let's get to work.
I'ma keep on running because the winner don't quit on themselves.
All right, well, there's the ad. I'm going to keep it running because the winner don't quit on herself or whatever. That's bunk. That is a lot of bunk junk coming out of the ad campaign. I know for sure, based on two things that I saw there, I won't be voting for Kamala Harris. One, she openly endorses LGBTQ sin, and that is not something I want to be complicit in. Per Romans 1, I do not want to give approval to that which we know is wrong. Take a look at Romans 1, especially 16 to 32. Go take a look at that. I don't want to be that guy because we are the governing authority in our land. The Constitution sets out the guidelines, and we make the decisions. You and I put these public servants into office, and I am not going to put into office anyone who is giving approval for people to do things contrary to God's will. So blatantly like that. I'm not doing it. Also, abortion. That is child sacrifice. That is baby murder. That is the most evil thing a society can do. This woman is running for barrenness. You're either barren because you're homosexual, you're barren because you're transgender and the cross-sex hormones and the puberty blockers sterilized you, or you're barren because you've cut off your penis or you cut off your breasts and then you've turned your vagina into a fake faux penis or whatever she's talking about. No, not going to do it. Those two issues right there are enough. But also, we have her record on the border. She was the border czar, as we know. She was the one in charge, and she left it open. So we have fentanyl flooding into our nation. That, too, doesn't serve neighbor. We have chaos on the streets. She talked about fear, chaos, and hate. Does she hate Americans? Because we have chaos with all these illegal immigrants coming over into our country, and then sometimes outright murdering American citizens, other times hitting them with their vehicles on accident, this kind of stuff, manslaughter, whatever. And then they're not suffering the consequences. In fact, ICE is protecting them because they're a special class of citizen, because they're illegal. They have a higher status in this country. They are more valued in this country than you and I. And no one should be more valued than each other. No one should be above the law. We should all have the same availability of justice. Justice should be applied equally to everyone. And she does not stand for that. Okay, that's it, guys. That's my reaction to Vice President Kamala Harris's first ad campaign. And it's a little depressing. Go ahead and like this video if you like it. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And click that church bell so you'll know when I drop new videos. They're not always on a schedule. 3 of them are, but then I drop these kind of videos haphazardly whenever something happens or I have time. So, hey, do that, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next video.